So one question that I get sometimes is, how do I know if my car needs to be waxed? Needs to be waxed to begin with, or when it needs to be waxed again? And the answer to the question is actually hydrophobicity, and this is your paint's ability, your clear coat's ability to resist water. And you'll be able to see it because the water will bead up on the hood. You want to see the water beating up like that. And this tells you that there's a protective coating, there on that paint. But, the elements, wind, if you take your car, that's why you shouldn't take it to brushed car washes. But just exposure to the sun will erode and wear away that protective coating over time. And the best way to tell whether that coating is good or bad is to look at the hydrophobicity, of the clear coat. So this is how you definitely have a good wax job, when the water that's on the hood just beads up like that, and it doesn't sit like a sheet of flat paper. And then when you start to go, it'll just run right off. So I just want to talk real quick about this vehicle's condition, okay? This vehicle has 130,000 miles on it. It's 16 years old, and it's never been paint corrected, okay? It's only had basic paint maintenance and care, which is basically wax or some type of coating being put on it. And the paint itself overall is in decent condition, but in the course of 16 years, it's picked up all kinds of scratches around the vehicle, and it doesn't appear to ever have any professional level or advanced home care level of treatment to get those scratches out. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing paint correction. Not all vehicles need paint correction. So like my 85 Corvette, for example, I did not polish or buff that paint because it didn't need it. It was in good shape. All I needed to do was wash it. I did some iron and fallout remover. I clay barred a couple spots off of it, and I waxed it. You won't always need to paint correct vehicles. This is for vehicles that have paint damage. Again, 16 years old, 130,000 miles, never corrected in this manner. So if your vehicle is that age, or you're detailing a vehicle that has these scratches on it, paint correction is how you correct those issues. A 10,000 mile 2024 Buick Envision like my wife's is not going to need this kind of treatment. This is for a vehicle that has some issues going on with the paint. So if your vehicle doesn't have scratches and damage like this, then check out one of my videos that are just on wash or wax, or what I generally call an annual or biannual cleaning. And if you guys are enjoying the video, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Alright, I guess we'll just do a quick look over before we wash it. Look at these scratches here. Look how scratched up it is. Look at this dirt. Dirt on the paint. Dirt on the windows. Dirt, bird poop on there. Look at all, see all this dirt on the window? Wash me! I'm not gonna write that on there. It's not that bad. All this here, salt. You got some salt left on there? Yeah. It's like a French fry. Look at it. Look at all this dirt. How bad that is. This is probably the worst part, that I was not able to fix this dent, really. I am not a body working type of mechanic person. But yeah, it's really dirty right now. I want to look at the scratches when it's clean. You got some paint contamination here. Hopefully this contamination will come off. This is like, oh, that just came off. But see that? Like, this is road grime, right? And it just came off. But we have more down here, okay? Some of it, see, like, this isn't coming right off. Now, some of this will come off with a degreaser soap. And then some of it, we're gonna put some iron and fallout remover, and hopefully it'll turn purple. We can watch that stuff work. It's very exciting. It's riveting. Look at this scratch. Yikes.
Who did that? It was probably me. No, it wasn't me. I don't do that. You got these scratches here. Okay, that's it. This thing's dirty. We're gonna go and wash it. Enough yapping and actually get some work done. Man, I gotta get to work now. What was it? I wanted to show you one more thing. Yeah, so I'll just show you real quick. My wash bucket ready to go. I'm not using this soap. I've got this soap that I'm using, this sponge. I like absorbers. They've always worked well for me. If it works, then do it. Got the spray, iron and fallout remover right here. We're gonna use that, and clay bar, and then I just gotta grab my bottle for soap and water for the clay bar. And I'm gonna stop jabbing and get some work done. So I'm gonna put Permashine on this tire, but as you can see, you have spots on it. It's just dirty, it doesn't look that good. And the Permashine, I don't think will work as well putting it onto a dirty tire. So first thing we're gonna do, bleach white and a bristle brush. Oh yeah, look at all that dirt coming off that tire. Gross. Now next up is wheelie clean and a nice long wheel brush. So unfortunately, these rims are pitted and there's no cleaner that's going to do anything about that. But this chrome sections came out great.
So it's not overly super complicated, obviously, washing a car, but there is a couple of things. You want to wash the car in sections so that the soap doesn't sit in one spot for particularly long to make soap and water spots on the car, especially water spots in some places. So we're washing the roof, and then next we're going to wash the front of the car. So we go from the roof down to the door handles.
All right, so I just did the top of the vehicle, now I'm gonna do the front.
And what I like to do when I start the section of a car is to just kind of squeeze the sponge along the top so that the whole section has soap all over it and that you don't wind up with a lot of soap dripping on the ground at first and then no soap at the end.
Do the top half of the vehicle and do the front of the vehicle. Now I'm going to do the side.
And this vehicle had never been paint corrected before, and it was a lot of work. I mean, I was really scrubbing this paint aggressively to try to get it clean. It was definitely more than your average car wash.
So let's just get a quick up close view here. So hopefully you guys can see the black stuff. Like, see this? See all this stuff on here? Some of it is cut like this. Some of these pieces are coming off, but like this one is not. See how it came off? There we go. Some of it's coming off. So there's a lot of stuff on this lower panel. This is where you're going to use your iron and fallout remover on this panel and on these wheel wells, and iron and fallout remover and clay bar to get whatever doesn't come off with a sponge. So if we take a look here again, this has come mostly clean. Most of this stuff is gone. There's just a couple little marks that are left that, like this one here, will clay bar. The worst spot that I see after the cleaning is back here. You got some black stuff, and you can see, look at all this black stuff here. See it? That'll come off with clay bar. We'll pull that off real quick and easy with clay bar, and then we'll get to waxing this beast. And being this is my first time doing this vehicle, we're gonna go over it one more time just to get anything we missed. One more quick.
So you usually wash the vehicle in sections, but if you have a vehicle that was really dirty, sometimes I'll go over it a second time. The key here is to really hustle. As you do the vehicle all at once, you don't want any soap or any water drying on the vehicle, creating drying spots. So if you're going to do a whole second wash like this, it's kind of a hustle. I don't use any particular magic for drying. I like to use absorbers. I think they work well. I've always used them. And you just make your way around the vehicle doing large panels at first usually, then windows, and then just circle back around and get all the little details. And definitely want to try to get the vehicle as clean as possible and make sure there's no soap hanging around.
I like to have the little grate in the bottom of the bucket. That way dirty stuff can go down in and the sponge isn't sitting in it. Now I'm going to hit these wheel wells with some iron and fallout remover. Look at all the purple from the melting. Look at all the purple down here. You see all that? That's all iron and fallout melting from that iron and fallout. Look at all over here. Look at all these dots, all this purpleness. So we're melting it before we're using clay bar. Oh, look at that. Look at it just running off what melted. Now that was after scrubbing it fairly hard with dish soap and a sponge. That's just all that fallout just melting. All these contaminants and chemicals that are on the paint just melting off. So this stuff definitely does work. It definitely makes a difference. With wax, you know, it's not going to make or break your job, but it's going to come out a little better, and it's pretty easy to. Iron and fallout remover takes 2 minutes to put on. And that's iron and fallout remover, and it was without a question burning stuff off, and it was just melting and running down the car. So hey, if it got stuff off in the last pass, you know, I'll put another coat on. I definitely think that it cleaned up the wheel wells and the rocker panels. They're unquestionably cleaner than they were before. So go ahead and do a second coat, and then if there's anything left after that, I'll pull it off with the clay bar. So this is the second coat I'm doing of this stuff, and just take a look. This is the worst spot. Like these back quarter panels, that's all just running off of a spot. This is all just melting pollutant that is on the paint. So now when I get it clean and I just hit a couple remaining spots with clay bar and get it all off, when I put the wax on there, you know, hopefully the wax job will protect better, it will last longer, you know, all that stuff. And it's really easy. I mean, you just spray it on, take a sponge, wipe it a little, spray it off. Very easy product to use. And you can see the purple running from stuff melting. And that's the, like I said, this is after a sponge with dish soap and a first pass with this stuff. It's still getting chemicals off the paint. Let's go check out this side. This stuff's about ready to come off. See, now you're not seeing a whole lot up here. I like this. This tells me that this is about done. I'm not seeing much purple at all. We're not even really seeing it down here. There's a little tiny spot. Actually, that's not a purple run. That's stuff stuck to the paint that this stuff is not going to take off. So this is some other kind of contaminant, something sticky. That will come off with the clay bar. I bet you there's some, yeah, you got some melting back here, but you also have spots that are not melting that the clay bar will get. And then I'm just using the bucket to set the sponge down so that I don't set it on the ground. Never, ever, ever set a sponge on the ground.
So the wheel wells and the rocker panels on the vehicles take a majority of the beating, you know, from the ground, road debris coming up off the tires and stuff. I like to do the iron and fallout remover. It helps protect them. It gets them clean. And then when the wax goes on, I feel like any protectant that you put on will work better when it goes onto a surface that's better prepped.
So there it is. This portion of the job is pretty much done. You know, it's washed, it's dried. We're gonna actually, you know what? We're gonna do just a pinch of clay barring. We're gonna grab a couple of spots with clay bar.
So clay bar is actually very easy to use. This is one of those things, like, for a long time I didn't use it and I didn't know how to use it and I was unsure about it. Don't be uneasy about clay bar. You spray on either just soap and water and clay bars that you've acquired. Today I'm using this kit. It's just cheap and easy. You just spray some soap and water on and then you use the clay bar. Or like Mother's makes a whole kit where you get the spray and you get the clay bar and you get the microfiber towel. Here I am using the Mother's kit on my wife's Envision. Or another option, and something that I've used that I liked, was a clay bar mitt. And I found that they worked very well. So you get done washing the car, you just spray the mitt a little and spray the paint a little and take off some contaminants. And the general technique is to go light and fast swiping motions and just kind of break up those contaminants that are stuck on the car and get them off. So let's dive in.
All right, so my container of clay bar here, I just ripped off a piece. Sometimes they suggest to use Instant Detailer, but the thing is, Instant Detailer has other chemicals in it too, and soap and water is just the basics. So this is just some Dawn dish soap, again, because we are going to wax this car today. I'm using this kind of soap. If we weren't going to wax this car today and we were just getting some touch-up bad spots off, I would use car soap. Okay, so see these spots here? These spots didn't come off with a sponge and soap. They didn't come off with iron and fallout remover. And you got all these spots here and these spots here. We're gonna try to pull them off now with clay bar. I'm just gonna spray the area. With some soap and water. All right. You can see these spots right here. Look at that. Look at them coming off. Almost gone. Almost gone. You can feel stuff coming off of the paint. It's almost completely off. I'm gonna put a little more soap on. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at all this black stuff. It's coming off. Oh yeah, it's peeling that stuff off. at that. Yeah. That is 10 times better than it was. Beautiful. Much better. Got almost all of it off. Some of these marks that are left are like little digs, so they're not going to come out. But that definitely cleaned up a lot better than it was. All right, so let's just review real quick. We use soap to wash the car, dish soap to wash the car, because we are doing wax today and we wanted to use an abrasive and something with a degreaser in it. Don't use this if you're not waxing the car. After the soap, we use Wesley's Bleach White to clean the tires, and a little bristle brush. Really get in there and scrub those tires and the ridges and everything. Later, when I put the Permashine on there, those tires are going to look amazing. And after the Permashine, we use some Wheelie Clean and a long-handled brush to clean the rims. Now, these rims are pitted, so the results are going to be limited by that. They would look 10 times better if they weren't pitted. In the future, I might have them repainted. After that, after we did the wheels, the tires, and the rims, we washed the car, dried the car, and the next thing we did after we washed and dried it was hit it with some iron and fallout remover. And this melts off the environmental contaminants that are on the surface of the paint. And I find that particularly in the wheel wells, on the wheel well flares and on the rocker arms, on the lower part of the vehicle, this stuff is worth it. It pulls contaminants off. It's going to make the wax hold better. It's going to make the wax last longer. It's going to prevent those panels, which are the most common ones, from rusting. This stuff costs a couple of bucks, and it's super easy to put on and off. I think it's worth it. After that, there was some stuff that was more like physically stuck to the paint, and so I used this clay bar here, and I just used some good old soap and water. Again, dish soap in here. Now, if we weren't going to wax this car, I probably would have just put some car wash soap in here. Or if you're going to use a soap like this with clay bar, just put a little wax on after you do it. And that was it. After the clay bar, we rinsed off all the products that were left on the car, and we dried it. And now it's ready for my favorite part. We can get to the wax. So like the roof is just going to get waxed. That's it. These lower bars coming down on the side, I may polish them a little bit and then give them a coat of wax. But you'll see when we get over to the garage and go around the vehicle, there's some scratching that we're definitely going to have to address. And that is my favorite part of this whole process. But of course, the job's not done until your tools are cleaned and put away. So there it is, my car wash bucket. And now what I'll do is I'll just put the top back on the car wash bucket, and there we go. There's everything I need to do a car wash. And I find this iron and fallout remover lasts about 2 vehicles for me usually. And again, only if I'm going to be waxing them do I use this. If I'm not waxing the car, I don't usually use this. And it's used as needed. I don't know, maybe there's more tar and contaminants in your area. So now I'll just cap this bucket, and boom, it'll sit in the garage or sit in the spare room where the other cleaning supplies are, and until the next time I need to wash a car. And when I need to wash a car, boom, I just grab the bucket. It's got everything I need, go out and get the job done. All right, so we got the vehicle washed and dried. It's looking decent now, not bad, but let's take a little walk around tour at some of the marks on this vehicle. Yikes, look at that. This is all in the clear coat, which is nice about this mark. This mark isn't into the paint at all. I'm very confident that this is going to buff out, but you got this this swipe mark in the vehicle right here. Look at this. This is a scratch. See the scratch right here? It's pretty long scratch in the door. Silver is a great color. It kind of hides all these marks, but when you're up close, you see them. Look at that scratch right there. Another scratch here. Got a pretty big dig here. These are not going to come out, but I'm going to blend them down, and then I probably touch them up with touch-up paint. This is a little bit of that iron fallout remover I got to get off of there. Look at these scratches. Oh man, these are some big scratches. Look at all these scratches here. These scratches here. All right, ready? What do you see? These ones. Yikes. Those are bad. Those aren't going to come out. I'm going to buff them down, though. They'll look a lot better than that. Let me get over here. This poor vehicle has scratches all the way around it. Not big, but here's another one on the wheel flare. Look at that. Look at that scratch. Nice, big, long. But again, I'm very confident. This is mostly in the clear coat, and I think that's going to come out great. We get up front, corner, scratches. Look at this. I think these are going to come out good too. I think these are mostly clear coat. There's some stuff in them. I think that stuff's going to come out, and then it's going to haze over, and I think these are going to come right out. Look at these. Yikes. Ouch. Those are not going to come out. Those are too deep to come out, but I will blend them with the buffer, and they will look a lot better than they look right now. And then you got all these scratches over here. This thing is unfortunately got a bunch of scratches. You got scratches up here, right there. You got scratches right there. So the vehicle has a lot. You got this swipe mark right here, and then the hood. You got scratches in the hood here. Let's see what else we can see. Scratches in the hood over here. See all these scratches? And then it's very hard to see the micro scratches out here in this light. But there is a lot of micro scratches in this vehicle. And look at all these. Look at all these scratches. So a lot of scratches we're going to be taking out. I'm very excited. I like this part of the job. I like using the buffer and the polisher, and we'll get these wheels done up with some Permashine, and this thing is going to look great. I can't wait. Vapor Silver, great color.
So let's just talk quick about this polish. This is 3M polish. Now, polish is to take out micro scratches or maybe smaller scratches that get in the vehicle. Okay, it's not like compound. It's not as coarse. And I'm using a random orbital here with this little Saker random orbital buffer. Spins, and it also moves like in a random figure 8 pattern, and that pad will not generate heat, and we're just putting this polish on there to get these micro scratches and smaller scratches out. Now, a step back in the process is to use compound. Compound is more coarse. Then you move to polish, which takes out the compound swirls and flattens out the look of the paint. And then the third step is wax. It's a 3-step process.
So when I got up on that roof, I did find that there was a little more scratches along that top bar than I expected. So I am hitting that top bar area with some polish. So I got this set at like 5 of 6 speed, so fairly high speed for the polish, and you can see all the stuff that's coming off the paint and onto this polish pad. And if we come up here, we had all these scratches in here that are now gone. If you look over there, you can still see the scratches that are in it. But that purple polish pad, I just took all the scratches out that were up here. There were some good light scratches that were in here. They're mostly gone. Now I'll just take a rag and get any leftover polish off, put a coat of wax on it, and peel it off. And that's how I'm going to treat the paint from the door handles up. So if we take a look here, you can see these scratches right here. See the scratch right here and see the scratch right here. And you got some scratches along here, probably from people reaching up and grabbing with their hand and having a ring on. You've got a whole series of scratches along this top panel. Unfortunately, I can't really, this tripod isn't tall enough to really cover it while I'm doing it, but so I'm going to take my polish. These could almost be compounded. They're almost bad enough for compound, but I'm going to see how they come out with polish. Oh yeah, that's nice. That took some of those scratches right out. I would say 90% of those scratches came out. There's only one left. I might just zip with the buffer when I get it out. Zip with the yeah, the buffer. Now let's take a look at it at the end result. Okay, if we hop up here, this panel had all kinds of scratches all through it. We have one little scratch left there, and we have one little scratch left right there. Other than that, all the scratches that were in that panel are gone, and that was just using polish, okay? So when I get the buffer out, that's what's gonna come next. And unfortunately, it was my intention to only polish where I needed to on this car. I wasn't gonna polish the whole thing, but I'm gonna polish this whole car out because it needs it. There's little scratches everywhere. So we're gonna polish the whole car out, and then I'm gonna hit where I need to hit. Whatever scratches that don't come out with the polish, I'll bring out with the buffer. All right, now this is where I'm really looking forward to how this comes out, okay? This is the hood. This is all the scratches that are in this guy. There is a lot of scratches in this hood, and I am going to polish the heck out of it. We're gonna get a large majority of these scratches out. I'm hoping not to have to compound the hood, but let's hit it with our polisher and see what we can do. Now this was all scratches, okay? We've only got a couple little scratches left. I am gonna hit that with the buffer, but a large majority of the scratches that were in it are gone. If we come over to this side of the hood, you can see all these little scratches. See them all in there? I hopefully the camera's picking up. See all these little scratches. The other side was just like that, if not worse. And a large majority of those scratches just came out with that polish and this polisher. And I'm just gonna hit these with the buffer and the compound to finish it off. I'm gonna do the same thing to the rest of the hood, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. All right, let's check this hood out. Oh man, did it come out good. I am super happy with the results. Check out the clear coat I can't even, there was a lot of scratches in this hood, and I would say that 98% of them came out. In fact, there's only really this little tiny scratch left right here. Got to get it in the right light. Right there. There's a little bit left right there. Other than that, all the other scratches came out just using the polish and that buffer. Wow, what a difference. That hood came out great. I'm super happy with it, 100% worth it. Moving on to this quarter panel now. Now, if we take a look at this quarter panel, you'll see these lines? See these lines in this quarter panel? And let's look at this wheel flare. See these marks? See that mark in the clear coat right there? So we got all these lines right here. See this line right here? All these marks in this paint. Okay, we're gonna attack this panel now. All right, I'm gonna take you guys right along with me. Again, we have all these lines in this paint right here, and we have this dig in the clear coat right here, and some scratches right here. We're gonna see what we can do about this. 1, 2, 3 scratches right here, and again, all these like clear coat marks. We'll see what we can do about this. This large one, the worst line in this, is much improved, but you can still see the shadow of it. I'm gonna have to hit that with the real buffer. Improvement, 90% done. Let's get down here up close. So remember all those lines that were in here? They're gone. This panel from this V8 emblem to here had about 5 lines going all the way down through it. They are completely gone. Right here there was 3 good sized scratches, completely gone. They're not there at all. The only thing that remains, seeing it is more difficult. Now, see this slight clear coat imperfection right there? That polish helped it, but it didn't completely eradicate it. That I'm gonna hit with the buffer, the big buffer. But all of the scratches all on here, this had car wash scratches too. They're from the sprayer nozzle at the car wash, you know, the big gun. It's got the hose. Had these scratches here. Take a look. I'll take you right down this corner. Do you see any of those scratches anymore? They are all gone except that one. So that spot I'm going to hit with the buffer, the big buffer, and this little clear coat imperfection I'm going to hit with the big buffer. But we took 80% of the marks in this panel. Again, this car's got 130,000 miles on it. We took, I would say, 95% of the marks that had happened on this panel. We just took them out with this little polisher, and this, I don't want to set this on the ground, with this compound right here, this polish. I haven't used compound at all. We're going to use compound on this little spot, on that little spot, and one little scratch over here on the hood that didn't come out. We're going to use compound on, but I'm going to polish this whole vehicle because it needs it. Look at this big mama. I have a feeling that's not going to come out with polish. I'm going to have to compound that scratch out. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm going to polish the rest of these panels the exact same way I polished this panel, and then we'll come back. All right, so let's take a look at how these 3 panels on this side of the car came out. Now, if you remember, this door had scratches through it. Those scratches are almost entirely gone. They came out a lot more than I expected them to come out with the polish. Almost entirely gone. There's just a little bit, one left right there, which I'll pull out with the buffer. And this one, This door wasn't too bad. There is a little scratch or two going through it. This one wasn't too bad, but it's still cleaned up nice. This one, I wish that I recorded. I mean, there was a scratch going through here. I mean, there was just a bunch of scratches back there. This panel came out great. I wish I had recorded it because there was some pretty good sized scratches up here and around this gas tank filler. And afterwards, there's just this little tiny one left here, which I'll try to pull out with the buffer. So this side of the car came out absolutely great. I'm glad I decided to polish the whole thing. I'm gonna spin it around and we'll polish the other side and then do the front and the back. But I think first I'm gonna do these wheels while I have it sitting here, these tires. I'll be right back. All right, so again, I am going to use the PermaShine here. I used a sponge to put it on, just a piece of a sponge to put it on. This stuff is no joke. Don't get this stuff on your hands. Don't get this stuff on your rims. Don't get this stuff on your paint. You really, really, really want to be careful. Put the stuff on a sponge or an applicator and only get it on the tire. And you really, really don't want this stuff to run. You don't want it to drip. You want to put it on there carefully, very carefully. Don't put too much of it at once on your sponge. I usually find that two, it takes, if I put enough to do a whole tire, it'll run too much. Wipe it. Watch it. Make sure it's not running. This is not your Pappy's Tire Shine. This stuff is no joke. I was really impressed with the silver vet. I did the same thing. I bleach whited the tires when they were brand new, and I put this stuff on there, and it lasted, no joke, 6 months of driving that car in the rain. This stuff is great, but I got a little bit of it on my wheel, and it was not. That was the only thing about the product that I did not like. Getting it off was not easy. So put it on like this. Keep an eye on it when you put it on. Like I said, don't let it run. Don't let it drip. Now, I am spreading this kind of thin because I don't like super shiny tires. I like them more to have a moist, like it looks like a brand new tire. If you apply it a little thicker, it'll be a little shinier. Yeah, that's about good right there. Yeah, that's good. They're good and done. Yeah, coming a long way. Definitely looking good. Super happy with the polish. Got a couple little spots I'm gonna hit with the buffer, and then I'm gonna wax it, but I gotta finish. I'm gonna polish the other side too. After you put this stuff on, I just cap it and put it right back. And whatever, like I put it on with this little sponge, just throw this right in the garbage. Throw it right out. That's gonna get all hard and nasty. You're not gonna be able to use it for anything else. But yeah, this stuff works very well. You can see now those are new tires. That will probably last, I would say, 6 to 8 months. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys with me on this panel. This is a pretty bad one. You can see this very large scratch here. I'm not sure if that's gonna come out. There's also a scratch there. There's just some scratches. We have any of those car wash scratches along the corners? Yeah, a little bit. I think I got that when I did the hood. But this is a very large, very obvious scratch. And then this is a little bit smaller one over here. There's some down over here. I'll just run you through it with the polisher. Let's see how it comes out. scratches all right there.
All right, so for buffing, I use a DeWalt buffer, right? And this is a different machine. This is a circular machine. It's not a random orbital. The buffing process, there's different stuff going on. It spins in a fixed circular pattern, and you're really trying to generate heat. Buffing is a much more aggressive thing to do to your paint. Compounding is really not something that you want to do unless your paint needs it, and it's the real heavy correction. Buffing compound is what they call a diminishing particle compound, a DPC. When you put it on, it's pretty aggressive, it's thicker, it's like sandpaper, and it pulls down that clear coat, and that fixed spinning pattern gets your clear coat hot, and it allows you to pull those scratches out. But you can also do damage. Take your time. This is something that you want to do cautiously. I like to use this DeWalt XL buffer. This is a dynamite setup for a boat. It's really not ideal for a car, but I've used it so much, and I've used it on boats, and the product is so good on boats that I continue to use it on cars. I've got a lot of scratches out of cars with it. Again, it's a DeWalt XR buffer. I use a battery converter, and I'm using my DeWalt batteries. You can check out the battery converter right in the tool corral. And then I like to use a wool pad. I'm not saying you can't use a foam pad for buffing and compounding, but I like to use a wool pad. I feel like it generates a little more heat, and that's what you need to really do the buffing and compounding to get the scratches out.
I'm just going to put a little water on this wool pad. You don't want to use it completely dry. And shake up this compound. This stuff tends to settle out, but I shook it up pretty good yesterday. Let's see if we can take this big honking scratch out of here. That's a big one. I don't know how much progress we will or won't make with that one. That's a pretty big scratch. So I'm just going to spread some cut compound on it. You can definitely feel a huge texture difference with the cut compound. So that was pass one. I just went pretty easy. You could see we definitely faded it. We are at 1700 RPMs. I'm gonna up it to 1900. Yeah, we don't even really have heat. I think we need heat. Because this is a plastic fixture, I don't want to push on it. So I'm gonna up the RPMs a little bit to 2000 to try to generate heat without putting force on this plastic flare. So I'm going to use RPMs to create heat instead of force. And again, I'm just not going to push hard, and we'll just take a second pass. You could see it's diminished. It's definitely less than it was before. In fact, it pretty much stops here where it used to go all the way to here. We're just going to have to take it up a notch to see if we can get this out. Gonna add just a pinch, just a little bit to it. Get it on there. Get some on there. All right, let's see if we can pull this thing out. Definitely got it down a little more. It's definitely a lot less than it was. Don't know if I want to go any harder, because as I look at it, these are kind of digs, and I don't want to thin this paint out anymore. Let's get in there. I'll give you guys a closer look. You can see what I'm talking about. So if we get up close to this mark, see how it's actually dug into the paint, right? So it's actually, you know, you're not going to get any more of that out than that, but it's certainly a lot less than it was. It looks a lot better than it did. And after I put 2 coats of wax on it and clean it up a little more, you won't even notice it. I mean, this color is really popping with the polish, and this doesn't even have wax on it yet. So this panel is done now. I'm gonna do these 3 panels, and I'm gonna do the front and the back. All right, so I've polished the driver's side of the vehicle. I'm very happy with the way it came out. Again, 90% of the scratches that were there came out. This is the only thing that's really left is a scratch here, which is just into the plastic, and I'm not going to be able to pull that out. I even tried the buffer. But this side of the vehicle came out really good. All the scratches that you could see from about 5 feet away are completely gone. But I'm about to hit this back bumper, and this back bumper polish is definitely, without a doubt, not going to take those scratches out. So I am going to use the buffer right off the rip on this corner, and we'll see how this comes out. Hit it with some water. Hit it with some cut compound. And then maybe what I'll do is try to get you over here so it can still work. Take our cut compound and spread it on the panel. Some of these scratches are definitely not going to come out. They're deep. But we're going to clean them up. It's going to look better. And send it, you know? We'll go back down to 1800. Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than it was. Yeah, I mean, you know, some of those scratches definitely came out, and it definitely looks dramatically better. That is much improved. Much improved. I'll take it. Send it. All right, so now this corner. Yeah, we got some scratches and just some looking rough, looking dull. This cut compound will bring it right back to life. We're gonna add a little more moisture and a little more compound. And we'll spread our compound out. Oh yeah. This corner up here is just like that other corner. Had a whole bunch of scratches. Again, it's not perfect. The vehicle's got 130,000 miles on it. It looks 10 times better than it did. And the front bumper is going to be the same thing. Front bumper from all the wind and swipes and scratches. There's not a lot to this front bumper. I'm just going to compound the whole thing. All right. Blob. Compound. Get it right in the corner. Right in the jack corner. Oh, don't spin yet. All right. Those scratches are definitely not going to come out, but we're going to make them look a lot better than they do. All right. Spread the compound around. Spinning over here. Yeah. Like 1900.
So unfortunately, my camera died when I was doing the waxing portion, and wax is applied a little bit differently. With wax, you put the wax on with an applicator, you buff it off with a machine. It is a little bit different than polish or compound. But I tried out the Zymoil wax this time. I'm not going to say that I don't like the Zymoil. I'm actually willing to say at this point that I do think that the Meguiar's is my favorite. But anyways, there's nothing epic going on here. I do use the Saker Random Orbital really just to speed things up, and the Random Orbital pattern is nice whenever you're pulling wax off because you don't get any kind of streaks. Like sometimes if you take your hand and you're pulling wax off and you put a little extra pressure in one spot, when you're done pulling the wax off that panel, there'll be like a swipe mark there. The Random Orbital machine, the Saker, helps speed the whole process up, and it takes a lot of stress off your hands, which is also nice. It really is a luxury, and it really makes things faster. Here's where I waxed the Silver Corvette, and it really came out great. These Silver 85 Corvette, and then here's when I did the Red 85 Corvette. This thing came out incredible. Now, this car only has 8,500 miles on it. But unfortunately, I don't have the video of the waxing process, but we've all seen the movie. Wax on, wax off. You put it on with an applicator. The biggest thing here is I put the wax on 2 panels at a time, and then I go back and pull it off the first panel, pull it off the second panel. Then I move to the next 2 panels, put wax on the next 2 panels, go back, pull it off the first one, then pull it off the second one. You want to pay attention to your speed and how fast you're putting it on versus how fast you're pulling it off. And I find that 2 panels is the perfect speed. So that's about all I got to say on wax. I will mention ceramic coating real quick. I'm not against ceramic coating, and I've done ceramic coating. I ceramic coated my Explorer. The thing is about ceramic coating is that it really should be applied indoors. It really should be applied under lights. The vehicle takes 24 hours to cure. You know, I just, with these older vehicles, I just prefer doing wax. It's just my personal preference. If you do ceramic coating, I've pretty much done all the prep work here for ceramic coating. It should be done indoors. It should be done under lights. The car should be left inside for 24 hours, and it will last longer. I like the wax. I think it looks better. I think it's flashier, and I don't mind doing the cars once a year. I enjoy it. I will have a video coming out here shortly on my wife's 2023 Envision where I wash and put on a coat of wax and go through all of that step by step. The only real difference is also I do slow the buffer down a little bit with wax. I probably run it on a 2 or a 3, whereas with polish, I use a 5 or a 6 to try to pull the scratches out a little better.
So now that we are done buffing and polishing I didn't wind up compounding the hood. You know, I'm just going to leave it be. It came out pretty good. It matches the rest of the vehicle. The way everything is matching, the way everything's going. I'm not going to compound the hood. But the polishing got 99% of the scratches out. And I did wind up using the cut compound and the buffer on the front bumper, the back bumper, the corners, and this front wheel flare to pull some of those heavier scratches out. Now I'm going to go around and pull all the polish, all the little leftover stuff, and all the little leftover compound off the vehicle, and we're going to hopefully get 2 coats of wax on it. All right, so let's do a little walk around. This vehicle has several spots were compounded and buffed with the DeWalt buffer and buffing compound. The entire vehicle, top to bottom, front to back, was polished. And then I did a coat of wax. I wanted to get 2, but I just can't. I've had it. It came out really good. I'm super happy with it. There was a lot of scratches in this area here. This is about the only scratch that really remained that I hit it with the buffer, but that is kind of engraved. It shortened it up a bit. It definitely cleaned it up. I got it out of the paint over here because it used to continue off into the paint, and I cleaned it all up and got it off of there. But the paint just came out really good. I mean, it had scratches on the door before. So everything came out. This vapor silver color looks really good. I'm super happy with it. But a lot of these scratches came out. These corners were just, there's a couple little tiny marks still left that I would probably have to use touch-up paint on, but I don't want to burn the clear coat down trying to get them completely out. So that's fine. It's a huge improvement from how it was. It came out really good. I have a plate holder coming for it and a couple stickers for the back window, so it'll look good with those on there. But I mean, you could see my reflection in color now. I mean, that polish definitely took some staining and some pollution off the surface of the paint, and man, did it come out good. This hood was a mess. I didn't even realize till I got in and started polishing it how many scratches were in the hood of the car. And when it's all said and done, there's just a couple little tiny ones left. But I would say a good solid 85 to 90% of the scratches came right out of the vehicle. All right, welcome back. So the vehicle came out great. I'm super happy with it. I wound up using mostly a 2-step process. I was only intending to wash and polish the parts of the vehicle that really needed it, try to get some of the scratches out with the polish, the smaller scratches, and hit the larger scratches with the compound and the larger buffer. I didn't wind up using the larger buffer a whole lot. Now, on a boat, especially a larger boat, like with a color stripe, this is a critical tool. This is a great tool. For the car, I didn't wind up using it a whole lot. I did wind up doing the corners of the bumpers and a couple of scratches and stuff with this. I probably could have upped the speed and used cut compound and made this work for all 3 jobs if I didn't have that. This probably could have got all 3 done. So I used this for the compound and I used this for polishing. I wound up using the 3M polish, but I mean, I gotta tell you, I have Manzurna polish in here too. You know, I have found most of the products, it's really your equipment and how you use it and your technique drives the end product more than necessarily. Most of these products are really good, whether it's 3M, there's this new company, 3D, or at least a company that I didn't know of before that now I do. They all make good products. I have never really used a bad product. I've probably used every wax under the sun. I mean, I've tried them all. Liquid Glass, Meguiar's. I mean, I've tried every wax out there. I found that they all, I mean, none of them like really substantially are different. This is the first time that I've ever used this wax before. I've used Zymoil before, their cleaner wax that comes in a bottle, but this was the first time that I used this wax. And I'm really happy with it. It came out really good. It dries sort of almost like ceramic coating was the only thing that I noticed. The regular Zymoil that comes like in a bottle, it dries more like a paste finish. A door with wax on it, you would tell it stands out. Same thing like with Meguiar's, you put it on there, but with this product here and with like ceramic coating. So when you use the cleaner wax that comes in a bottle, or you use like Meguiar's wax, you put it on a door, you know it's on that door. And if you take it off and you stop halfway through, you know right where you stopped. This stuff dries kind of thin. It doesn't dry as thick as the stuff that comes in a bottle, but it still is really good. I'm really happy with the way the finish came out. So I basically polished the entire vehicle. I hit a couple panels with the buffer and the cut compound. So I used cut compound on the front and back bumper. Like on the corners, almost every corner had scratches in it. I used this cut compound and I used this DeWalt buffer, which this is, it's not a random orbital. It just spins in a fixed circle, and that allows you to generate heat. I thought it worked very well. If I needed to, if I didn't have this, I probably could have used this for buffing and for polishing and for pulling the wax off. One battery did die on this between polishing, which you're putting a lot more stress on it, than wax. I've done a coat of wax on the silver car in the fall. I pulled it off with this, and it didn't even go through a whole battery. But in a polish coat and a coat of polish where on the scratches I was kind of putting some pressure on this thing and running it around a little bit more to get those scratches out, I killed one battery. But this thing comes with two batteries, so there's no big deal. I put the other one on charge. I threw the battery that was in it that was on charge, and now it's it's almost dead. So I almost went through two batteries doing all the polish and a coat of wax. So when I did the wax, I turned it down to about 3.5, and then when I was doing the polish, I had it up at 6. And yeah, I think the car came out great. Now, this isn't something that you want to do. You're going to do to a car, every time. This vehicle had a lot of scratching on it over its 16-year life. I don't think it had ever been paint corrected. None of those scratches have been pulled out before. And so from here on out, like with the Corvettes, I just wash them and I throw a coat of wax on them. That whole process takes me an hour and a half, 2 hours. I spent about 6.5 hours on this vehicle today. I washed it, and then it had been through salt, and it was dirty. It was just really dirty. I washed it, and then I decided to wash it over again. And then I used the decontaminant on it. I used the iron and fallout remover spray on it, and I was happy with that. I felt like that got a lot of contamination off of the vehicle. So I wound up doing a second coating of the iron and fallout remover on it when I usually only do one. But I had so much stuff burning off the vehicle, that purple color was coming out, that I decided to do a second pass with the iron and fallout remover because I was getting so much off of there. And then there were still a couple of physical contaminants stuck to the paint, and I wound up using some clay bar and some soapy water. That spray bottle is in the house. Clay bar and some soapy water to get those contaminants off of the paint. And it came out great. It took me about 6.5, 7 hours. And so from here on out, it should just need car washes and a coat of wax once a year, maybe twice, depending on
just I'll keep an eye on the water beating up on the paint when it gets rained on. And, you know, when the water's not beating up so much anymore, it's time for another coat of wax. I don't run it through a brush car wash, so that keeps a lot of the micro scratches off of it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, comments, or techniques, or things that you'd like to share, just hit them down in the comments, and we'll see you next time on Kevin's Garage.